Welcome to Stocks to Watch, where we highlight promising companies for you to add to your watch lists. I am Munir Barazi, your business analyst and host, and this interview is disseminated on behalf of Bayridge Resources, a Canadian exploration company focused on advancing a portfolio of uranium projects positioned to meet the world's growing demand for clean, reliable nuclear energy. And today I'm joined by Saf Dhillon, the CEO and director of Bayridge. Welcome, Saf.
Hi, Mayor. How you doing?
Good, good. Thank you for being here. So, Bayridge is a uranium play, if I understand that correctly. So, tell me more about why you believe it's now the best time to explore for uranium and position this company as a uranium play.
Yeah, it's a good question. I've been involved with the company now basically going on 2 years. I got asked to help out when the founding president and CEO wanted to take a step back. He was in his 70s and wanted to enjoy life a little bit more. And in that time, I think we've seen a bit of a fluctuation in terms of energy prices related to uranium specifically. And, the company has basically a 40% ownership stake in a project in the Athabasca Basin called Waterbury East. And then just late last year, the company signed an option to acquire a 51% stake actually in a project called Baker Lake Project. This is in Nunavut in the Dhillon-Baker Basin. These two basins actually make up probably the world's richest grade uranium deposits, some of the largest mines, and some of the most prolific producers. So I think that the company is, for a relatively new company, less than 3 years old, we're now actually poised with two projects. We've kind of de-risked the company. We've only got 15 million shares issued and outstanding, very, very tight cap structure. And the company is actually poised with these projects, Waterbury East being a little bit more early stage. But the Baker Lake project, has quite a bit of historical data. It's quite a bit more advanced. And I think I'll kind of talk about that a little bit more. But that's just really the kind of basics of us. A brand new company, 3 years old, got some exciting uranium projects. I think just as the uranium boom seems to be coming back with the nice surge in the uranium spot prices globally.
Wonderful. And the thing that I like about uranium is that and nuclear energy for that matter, it's a very steady source of energy and it's suitable for our current grids, whereas other sources of renewable energy like solar power, wind power, they require storage and investment in storage to be compatible with our grids. So it's really good that you're focusing on uranium, and the Athabasca Basin and Nunavut are great places to explore. And we'll be happy to welcome your geologist next time to hear more about the projects. But I believe you do have a very good foundation. You have a lot of historical data and promising factors there at play. Could you tell us more about your projects and what really sets the ground for great potential there?
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
Sure. Yeah. And actually, you know what, Munir, you just touched on something there. You talked about basically baseload power. And for people who don't know my background, I actually spent a good decade, first part of my career, actually growing a geothermal company from about a $2 million market cap to its peak of about $500 million. And we built 3 industrial grade power plants in the US, in Idaho, Oregon, and Nevada. And you hit the nail right on the head. Geothermal and nuclear power are the only two reliable sources, baseload power, meaning they're on 24/7. Unless, of course, you take them down for preventative maintenance, which, of course, happens, and you have backup power for that. But, traditionally, nuclear and geothermal are the only two baseload powers, and nothing compares. Yeah, Baker Lake project, why we're excited about this, this is in the Kavalik region of Nunavut, which is within the Dhillon-Baker Basin. This hosts anomalous uranium indications that have been identified through historical exploration, surveys, and modern geophysics. We're very excited about this project because A, we've got some advanced priority targets that I said have already been de-risked. We've got ongoing consultations with local stakeholders and regulators. We're looking at middle of February of 2025. We've got some spring prospecting and mapping planned to redefine these drill targets. This year, we're also looking at contingent planning, potentially in the 3 to 3,500 meters drill program. This, of course, would be subject to full community engagement and full permitting, which is underway.
Lots of milestones to look forward to, for sure. When I want to touch on two points here that you've mentioned. Of course, the demand for nuclear power, I believe, is only going to increase given the demand from AI centers and data centers. This is a big source of demand. So my first question, does that also impact your outlook for where uranium prices are going?
Well, yeah, no, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think we all know there's a voracious demand for power. I don't think that's going to subside anytime soon. And, I think we want to be part of the solution. And, we want to be the next new big discovery in Canada. And I think we've got quite a head start with this Baker Lake project.
Going back to the Baker Lake project, you mentioned that you have done a lot of de-risking and mitigated the uncertainty on that project. Could you elaborate on that?
Yeah. As I mentioned, this project has had historical work done. We have basically, I think in terms of data, monetary, there's been about 7 million that's already been spent on this property currently. Because this is such a still smaller community, accessibility is primarily going to be helicoptered in. We've actually been fortunate enough. We've got some great relationships within the community that we've actually already got most of the infrastructure, the drillers, the housing, support groups. Most of that, we've been fortunate enough that we actually have already got that in place. Some of this has already been prepaid. It's a big property, so we're really itching to get to work. It's roughly about 430 square kilometers. There's identified 70-kilometer interpreted unconformity. We've got over 30 priority targets that we're looking at. And so we've got a lot of work to do. And I think that we've already got a leg up on that, like I said, with all the historical data.
You do, and I'm curious about your leadership team and your team on the ground. Of course, there is yourself at the helm, and you have an impressive track record and experience in the mining space.
Thanks.
I want to hear more about the team and their track record and why you believe they are the best people right now to lead this company forward.
Well, our team, we've got Charn Deal, who's been a very successful I guess, mining executive for the past 30, actually probably 40 years. We've got two independent directors who've been involved in mining now, again, very successfully, Benny Jassel, and we have Trevor Nowalski, who's also a well-known geologist. But that team is now rounded up with Mark Richardson, who's probably one of the more up-and-coming geologists. He's based out of New Brunswick, been involved in exploration mining now for going on 25 years himself. He knows this Baker Lake property, and I think he was probably a great coup for the company. We just brought him on actually earlier this year, and I'm excited for him to get to meet investors and your audience.
That must inspire a lot of confidence. My last question is, why do you believe that Bayridge Resources is a compelling investment opportunity today rather than later?
Okay. Okay. Again, I think we've got two great high priority properties, but we're really excited about our new flagship, Baker Lake. Again, it's not a pure exploration play. Historical data, 7 million already spent on the property. Great great cap structure, infrastructure. We've got basically 15 million shares that are issued and outstanding, and management, insiders, and supporters own roughly 60% of the company. So I think that this company is just poised, and we've got some great tailwinds or backwinds, if you want to call them, in terms of uranium pricing. And I think the demand for energy, electricity, is not gonna abate by any time soon.
Lots of encouraging factors there to pay attention to, and lots of excitement about your story, for sure. Saf Dhillon, the CEO and Director of Bayridge Resources, thank you so much for sharing all of those details with us today. And we very much look forward to having you and your geologist on this show very soon.
Thank you very much, Bernard. Look forward to seeing you again.